Hello everyone, welcome to my motoring. My name is Nez. Now you join me on a very wet and rainy day, but I'm in the Maserati Levante S GranLusso. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about this car and my experience with Maserati. I headed down to the factory in Modena, so I'm going to tell you guys what I found there, as well as we'll see what this car is like to drive. You know, Maserati, prestigious brand and lots of heritage, a lot of history in racing, so it's a fabulous brand. And now they're doing SUVs. They've diversified their brand. Before it just used to be full-on sports cars. So let's see what this car is like, this proper off-road SUV. So let's get the stats out of the way first. This is the Levante S GranLusso. This sits above the Levante diesel and the standard Levante V6, but below the Levante GTS and the Levante Trofeo. This car comes with a 2.9 litre V6 engine producing 430 brake horsepower and 580 newton meters of torque. It's a twin scroll turbocharged engine. It does 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.2 seconds and reaches a top speed of 264 kilometers an hour. It comes with an 8-speed ZF gearbox. This ZF gearbox is absolutely everywhere at the moment. It's the gearbox of choice across the whole automotive industry. Let's take it out for a drive and away from the facts. But before I start, so with the GranLusso trim, it comes with this Zegna silk interior, which is absolutely beautiful. Zegna is a suit manufacturer, a suit maker in Italy. So, like the steering wheel, a few buttons on there, and I like this feature. Check it out. It's got this wood ring all around the steering wheel, which is really cool. I'm not sure if you can see it. There we go. Really nice. You got your instrument cluster right there. Maserati, is quite cool to see they've stuck to analog gauges, which is very nice, and it's good for a change, because nowadays most SUVs now come with all digital TFT instrument panels. Next up, you've got this Maserati Touch Control Plus. Can be a bit slow sometimes, but overall it's a brilliant system. As you can see, press nav a few times. Go to home page, media, really press hard. But yeah, with Maserati it comes with a clock, and I like this wood trim in this GranLusso version. Very nice. This is my gripe, the plastics. I wish, you know, they could put some metal or something else there. It's just, yeah, in a Maserati, in a car this expensive, should you really have, you know, this cheap tacky black plastic? I don't know, you know, it's all over the infotainment system. Come on, Maserati, you could do better than that, you know. Yeah, so that's one thing I wish you could change. But nice wood, great quality leather, and the stitching, that's really nice. Back there, again, very comfortable, very nice. And yeah, that is the interior of the Levante. Let's go out for a drive and see what this car is like, and discuss my trip in Italy when I went to visit the Maserati factory. Now, apologies guys, the weather today is absolutely horrible. Couldn't have chosen the worst day to drive these cars, but hey ho, that's life. You just gotta deal with it. Unfortunately, this car doesn't come with the paddle shifter, so I have to change up and down from the gear lever. So what are my first impressions, guys? Obviously, the most noticeable aspect is the sound. Sounds brilliant, that V6 engine, 430 brake horsepower, and being a Maserati, sound is always a critical part of the brand, and points straight away for the sound. Sounds brilliant. Ooh. It's a great sound, first and foremost. the steering at the moment, but this is an SUV. It's supposed to go off-road. You can lower the car up and down. There's a toggle down here if you want to lower the ride height, and this car is in its lowest setting. At the moment, in sport mode, we've got the dampers on. It's very confidence inspiring. I've been in this car for 2 minutes and already I feel like I can actually really floor the throttle even in these weather conditions. So there is the benefit of that all drive system. I can really push it in these conditions. Very responsive gearbox. Unfortunately there's no paddles, as I said, but this gearbox is wonderful. I've got it in my own car. ZFs are now everywhere. It's easy to see why, you know, manufacturers are now going this way instead of dual clutches. Even the new M5 competition has got a ZF gearbox, and normally those M5s have DCT, so it just says a lot of how good this gearbox is. Next is the ride. Very good ride, not bouncy, being a SUV. Interior being a Maserati, nicely finished, though it's not quite to the level of the Germans. It's not quite to the level of an Audi, in my opinion. I think there's certain things that let this car down in terms of interior quality, like these window switches. It could be a little bit more tactile. One of my pet hates in this car, and especially the new Maseratis, is this gear lever. I'm not a fan of it. It can be quite tricky. It's quite stiff if you want to move it into different positions. For example, in the Ghibli, it's quite annoying. It's not very user friendly and intuitive in my opinion. It's very plasticky. This is a £96,000 car, just under £100,000 this S. It's a lot of money. Things like the plastics need to be better. Apart from that, you know, overall I like the styling, like the front, but styling is subjective. This car is obviously highly spec'd. Overall, it's a lovely, lovely car for £96,000. Honestly, if it was my own money, I know it's a little bit more, but I'll be steering away towards an SVR personally. A Range Rover SVR, or even a Macan Turbo. Apart from the sound, obviously a Maserati's got its quirks and its charm. And if I'm being completely honest, it's a lot of money, and I'm not sure if it's my own money I'd spend it on this car. Maybe my opinion will change if I drove the GTS or the Trofeo, but weighing everything up, I don't know. Apart from the sound and the interior, the leather, I can't find anything else that's like, yeah, grab me, buy me. So that's the Maserati Levante S. So let me talk about my experience. I was on holiday in Italy, headed down to Modena, had a factory tour. I learned quite a few things at the factory, which was absolutely amazing. First and foremost, this car is built in Turin. They had a Levante there in the showroom, but in the Modena factory there was the Gran Turismo Coupe, Gran Cabrio. The Gran Turismos actually arrive as shells. They're not actually built and molded there, and they're not put together there. If you spec a non-metallic color, they paint it there obviously, but if you spec a metallic color, the car was actually painted at Ferrari in Maranello. It takes 2 to 3 months from you putting your order in for the car to be built at the factory. We went to the engine rooms where there's a dyno and they test all the models, and then they have an emissions room where they test obviously all the emissions and how many the CO2. And then we walked through, we saw plenty of Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifolios, and then it makes you realise actually Maserati and Fiat Chrysler, the whole division, they're very tight knit. They were testing out different engines. They wouldn't tell us what they were, but we saw a brand new engine in the Giulia Quadrifoglio, so it made us wonder, oh, what are they testing there? So a very, very cool facility. After that we then went to the production facility, but on the way there we found out something quite cool, which is, did you know that the Alfa Romeo 4C is built by Maserati in Modena at the factory? I did not know that at all. So we went through and I saw an Alfa Romeo 4C Spider. I was like, in blue. I was like, what's that doing there? And then the lady told us, oh, these cars are built here at the Modena plant, which is absolutely astounding. That was quite cool to find out that the 4Cs are built there. I love the 4C, great car. What else did we learn? We saw the production lines. We saw from the start to the end. So we started when the body show arrives, fully painted, and then it goes through the marriage where they put the engine and the actual chassis and the marry it together. That was fantastic. Obviously these were Gran Turismo and Gran Cabrios which were being built. It's amazing, those cars have been in production since 2007, the Gran Turismo, so it's been in production for a very, very long time. But they assured us that a brand new model is on its way. How are the brakes? Yep, good brakes. Got the hazards on. Yeah, it's quite quick, 430 horse. So yeah, what else at the factory? So we saw where they do the marriage, which is very cool, and then after that they then took us to paint facility where they check all the paint. So if a car is not to their standard, a guy marks it, it's either repainted or they scrap it and they start again, which is very, very cool. Obviously Maserati and Ferrari, there's a business partnership there, so these engines, this engine is built by Ferrari, which is amazing. The Levante, the Maserati Gran Turismo, Ghibli, all the petrol engines are built by Ferrari, which is awesome. The guy did tell us that the new Gran Turismo replacement will have an engine built by Maserati themselves, so that would be very, very cool. So yes, at the factory, what else did we see? Maserati were actually doing a favour for the Italian firefighters, and they were building these orange Fiat trucks, which is quite cool. They were putting all the lights and they're all painted orange, which is really, really cool. So yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I highly recommend it, guys. If you're near Modena, definitely check out Maserati for a quick tour. It's a very, very special brand. There's a lot of racing history. Experience driving a Maserati. I would really, really be intrigued to try the GTS or the Trofeo, because those Trofeos are really, really, really spicy. This Levante S, I think there's better things out there, better cars. But that's my take on the Levante. I think, to sum it up, positives. Sounds fantastic. Love this GranLusso trim with the Zegna silk interior, like the leather, great torque, great power plant, being a Ferrari V6 engine, as you can expect. The engine is up there, it's one of the highlights of this car. Downsides, some of the plastics in the interior, that could be a bit better, very plasticky. I'm not a fan of this gear knob. The price, this car is very expensive, 96,000 pounds. As much as I love Maserati, and I think it's a brilliant brand, and I even made the effort to go to the factory, I think for the money there's cars that are better than this, and they've got more to their game. But if you want to be different, and if you want that Maserati Trident badge on your driveway, then you know, go for it. The other thing is depreciation. You got to be careful in terms of depreciation with Maseratis, because yeah, when you buy them new and on the second-hand market, they do lose a lot of money. So just be careful. If you ever have a chance, go to the factory like I did. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you guys next time.